Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Season 8. It's the Tuesday Night Championship. My name is Ben Sapsford, aka Sappytron. Now, you have got yourself quite a evening in store, folks. Let me tell you, it's going to be a pretty exciting, pretty frenetic one, from what I can already tell, because we have got an interesting wild card. Now, you've already seen the title. You've already seen the title of the stream. You know tonight we are heading to none other than Spa-Francorchamps. It's an iconic track in racing, in motorsport history. Been reprofiled many times, has taken many forms, but the Belgian circuit never disappoints. Now, we do have, of course, the championship that is going to take shape, and we're starting to already see some key protagonists. So for one, we have Liam Blom continuing to hold the front, 205 points, a whole 19 points away from Frederick Guillemard in the Ford Mustang, with Jimmy Engdahl in the second GTR Nismo with 173, 22 points away. Then moving on to the silvers, you have a decent roster here, but standouts, course, we do have our top three. We have Richard Cook in the Ford Mustang, 177 points, with Ostrachars in second at 171. Then you have a single point behind. Technically could have been leading had they not suffered a few points penalties. It is Thomas Linatus in the Audi R8. So great string of results has proven to be in his favour, as he's now rocketed up to the third place on the podium. Then, finally, you have none other than the bronze class, and Alex North continues to lead. 182 points in the V8 Vantage, along with the Porsche 992 GT3 of Eero, and Carl Thompson in third place with 153 points to his name. So, this is going to be a good one. I'm very excited to see how these races do. And there is one unique part of this also, which is that the drivers have to face random weather. We do have random weather on this course, and the field is going to be working hard to be adaptable more than anything else. I think the conditions are going to introduce a unique challenge. I think more than anything, everyone is going to be potentially a little bit nervous, and I wouldn't blame them either. They're going to have to be working within their means. So far, it's looking overcast on track, and we will jump just trackside in a moment, as a couple of racers are on the course in free practice, but we will see how they do. Before anything else, I do want to thank everyone who's joining us in the chat today, as well as anyone who is coming here for the first time. So we run the Tuesday Night Championship as well as other series. If you want to get involved yourself, you can join, of course, the Facebook page, as well as things like the Discord server once you've done that, and check out our website, as well as looking at ways, if you are interested, to support us and what we do here at SIMseniors, the events we put on. But enough of that, enough dilly-dallying. I think, folks, it is time. It is time to see what our field is capable of, and what our field is going to show us as we go trackside. Of course, say Spa, that beautiful, beautiful track. And the field is looking hungry for an opportunity here. So this is quite an undulating track. Of course, you've got Eau Rouge and Raidillon. You've got the iconic sectors of the circuit right there. But not to be outdone, you have the slight downhill at the end of Sector 1 towards Bruxelles. You have the, of course, no-name corner. You have Pouon. And then the final sector, high-speed corner through Blanchimont, and then into the bus stop chicane. 7,004 meters. What a circuit it is. But we will be soon heading over and checking out what our racers are up to, as free practice has officially come to an end. So if you're new here, then we have free practice, which is about 5 minutes just to get drivers acclimatized, make sure any technical issues are resolved. We then have a 15-minute qualifying session, followed by a 60-minute race, which that session is about to get started with. So let's see what the cars and the racers are showing us here, as everyone is going to be making quick progress out of that pit lane. And first out of the gate, we're going to jump on board with and see. It is going to be none other than Thomas Linatus. This is our qualifying pocket rocket. He's always so quick to get about on that track. He's always so quick to get himself onto those boards with some good times. And considering his form and him now being on the podium for his respective championship, I don't blame him for being so eager to get out there. So far, it's looking dry here. 34 degrees track surface temp, which is going to make those tyres nice and sticky. Just ahead of him, it is Patrick Larson right there. See, also in the silver. Hopefully as well, I've noticed a few upgrades, a few improvements to the visual quality of the game as well. So last season, one of the things that did come up was the game looking a little bit choppy. Done a little bit of tuning in the background, so hopefully it's a smoother experience. So upped the bit rate as well as done a few in-game settings tweaks. There we go. Patrick Larson looks like they're going to be the one to lead coming out into the third sector now. And they have got themselves about 5-6 laps potentially of decent running time. The Narcissus is going to overtake. And he's going to head himself into the bus stop chicane. It's easily sweeping through up into almost 260 kilometers an hour. Going a little bit deep on the chicane, but that's fine because he can focus on getting the best possible exit, maximizing the speed out of the corner here. And here we are. It's time to see coming out of La Source what kind of speeds he'll be able to harness. We are jumping on board right now with the Audi R8. Notice, of course, being the car to watch. See, sweeping up through Eau Rouge, Radion. Keeping quite a high speed. The question is how aggressive their aero setups are going to be. Are they going to go for a high aggression setup? Get those angles into the corners, get that attack. But then also, you've got to balance that out with having the speed to get for overtakes, because you'll see overtakes most likely on places like Kemmel Straight heading into Le Combe. But not to be outdone, the racers will, of course, try their hands at different setup methods and find the right balance of raceability versus optimal pace. Into Pouan. Any grip up, keep all the speed as much as he can. 170 k's, jumping into fourth gear to get that rear axle stable. Running a little bit low in the RPMs, but that's to give some low-end torque without breaking the axle on the rears. Too much wheel speed, too much horsepower being pumped through those tires, and you're going to break traction. As we see right there, a little bit of a wiggle there coming out from Leonardo's, but still keeps it legal. Now out into the third sector. You can see coming up to 250 kilometers an hour. Sweeping their way through. Nice and clean. Great Blanchiment. So really working that aero, but then jumping on the brakes. Really watch that car squat. Head into the tight right left-hander. And then now coming out and into La Source. It's a 218 flat. First time on the boards, looking promising. Larson with a 218.7. Hellstrom with a 218.4. Many other cars now also pushing their way through. Here comes Lindblom, of course, one of the cars that we have to keep an eye on. At this point, you know the drill. And he's going to come through 216.397. Absolute rocket ship in that Nismo right now. The number 888 is a formidable machine to challenge. So jump on with Aero as well. P2 in the bronze. Certainly got some work ahead of him, considering he's on the defensive stance at this stage. He cannot afford a poor quali. Go nice and clean through the bus stop. You see a little bit of chaos through the chicane. I believe that's one of the McLarens dipping to the inside. And then, unfortunately, an invalidation there for Iro, but he'll get a chance to go through once again. Meanwhile, we have Lindblom once again back out, so coming through into No Name. 216.3 current, and about a tenth of a second up, which is pretty insane. We also have none other than Colin McNair, 218.1 right now, so P4 in standings. In terms of this session, looking very promising. Lenatus, 218.0 is the time to beat for silver. Almost half a second away from Damien Reed, next closest competitor. Craig Niesbet as well, 219.4. That is going to be head and shoulders away from the next bronze car, which is going to be Robert Homer with a 20.8. Either way, coming up to the line now, we just had Oskari Herme, surprise, with the 217.6, just shy of Johan Larsson, but still in the second row. Lindblom coming through now. About a tenth of a second equal all round, really keeping that consistency and pushing the higher speeds. You notice as well, 265, 266, where other drivers wouldn't really be pushing past 255. Up to the line now, 216.2, so a solid tenth of a second's improvement here from the Nismo. And certainly not someone I would want to trifle with. We have Guillermo coming through, 217 flat. So he's going to be joining Lindblom on the front row. And fittingly so, given their proximity in the standings. Engdahl is going to also be punching his way through, with Larson in the second row. Oskari being demoted to row 3. Alongside leader Lenatus, who just got a 217.7 and is really challenging for time here. Pushing himself up for sure. Justin Cutler coming through now, say 217.6 dead. So that is going to put him 100th of a second away from the McLaren of Johan, who is just coming out into the Kemmel Straight. See, we'll jump aboard with Colin as he's in the bus stop chicane. He's trying to get the rear of that Nismo rotated. Just up ahead as well as a couple of other cars. He's going to jump himself up into P10. 217.8. Nicely done there. Austrichar's also going to see an improvement for themselves. 0.04 of a second away from Hamby, as the two of them share the 6th row. There's Randy Zimmer, who has just come through now to get themselves into P17. We have 30 competitors tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And we're hopefully going to see some solid performances from the whole roster. Like Chris Bourne, currently not got a time, but has just set internally a 219.1, which could have put them in 18th position. It's all about those timings. Oskari's just come through and has got themselves back into row 3 with a 217.6. Although not to be outdone, Lenatus has absolutely flown through and again continues to impress. 217.585. That has overtaken Herme, Larson, Cutler, the trio, all of them, and is back onto row 2. I know I don't like to often look at it purely in terms of classes, but if we were to look from that perspective, Lenatus is certainly punching above his weight class. And I always love to see this kind of competition. Seeing who can make a wave, who can make a splash in another group and really unsettle the waters. Austrichar's through now. Is going to be having what looks to be a bit of a slow run, but I think this might be more setup than anything else. Just lapped to 220.3. Is sitting in row 6 right now, with a hefty speed debt to pay. Ido is making their way through to the bus stop one more time. Good clean line. Currently quite far up on the deltas. Alex North is tailing behind as well. So there's Ido. Leapfrogs North. Can the Aston follow? Yes, they can, but they can't follow enough to disturb And North is going to be relegated to P3 for the time being. Outdone by Ito and Craig Niesbet, who is in the pits right now in the McLaren. So a couple of racers coming now through. It's James Payton in the AMG. Good sweep. 5 minutes left in qualifying, folks, and it looks like some drivers still have plenty of heat left in the tank. 218.2, massive 2.5 second improvement. Payton is going to be getting himself into row 7. Classy time. Very classy time indeed. And that is going to be Chris Bourne as well, who's just come in with a 20.1, as well as Anthony Hebert. Qualifying maestro in the bronze class. Once again, impresses 218.727. Niesbet behind has got 0.7 of a second behind. Patrick Larson's just come through with an 18.3. But then you also have some of the other field runners, like Oscari Herme. This is a driver who has silently crept themselves up the boards. Nicely done here for Oscari. That is a quality run. Let's see what this field is capable of for real. Jimmy Engdahl just went into the pits, but he's currently sat with a 217.110. That is the time to beat. Many others are now making their way. Iro could get an improvement here. Just a 1/10 of a second. He will jump up. And it looks like coming up to the line, he just might have that. Iro is going to overtake Niesbet on the standings. And is going to be right behind Hebert. We're just sticking with Lindblom right now, as he could have a time on his hands. It's the fastest lap here. They clean sweepers. Looking very smooth and very clean. Not really much else to be said on that front beyond that. Because you can't fault what's currently going on here. It just is a nice and smooth lap. Here we are here. That's going to be nicely done all the way. Many cars have actually resigned themselves to the pits at this point, with 1 minute still to go. A lot of the lower end of the field have elected not to come back out, meaning that they will be at best sticking with their current positions, at worst being demoted down from races underneath them. Like Mark Hughes is currently out on track and could be a disturbing force in that lower half of the standings here from quali. But here comes Lindblom, 2:16.2. Can they get it into the magical graces? Oh, it's going to be a 16 flat, 0.092. Just not quite a 15. I thought we were going to see for a split second the fabled 2:15s. Here comes Alex North, though, coming out of Blanchimont. Just barely keeping it within those track limits before diving on the brakes at the start of the curb line. Bumps a little bit up on the sausage curb, trying to get that Aston rotated here. But nice line, decent enough through the bus stop chicane. 2:19.6 now becomes a 2:19.4, but it's not fast enough to gain positions, and that's the kicker here. That is the crux of the issue. You can get the speed you want, but if you're not making up positions, then have you really moved forward? Qualifying is officially done, and last runs are on the table. 2:17.8 becomes a 2:17.6 for McNair. He gets himself into the single digits, although is still on row 5. Johan Larsson's pushed himself into the second row with a 2:17.4. Can this be matched by any others? Here comes Guillemard. No major time improvement to be spoken of, although a good bus stop chicane here could seek to change that. Coming up to the line. Just slightly shy of their best time, unfortunately. No improvements to take away today. Here's Damien Reid in the Lexus. Getting a good movement through the chicane. A little bit of the sausage curb, though. Unsettle the cars ever so slightly. 2:18.0 becomes a 2:18.0, but that minute difference has just pipped them ahead of Ostrachaz here. Scotty Hermé, couple of tenths up, could get a big jump here, and does into the second row with a last-minute effort. And then coming up to the last few cars here, this is Linatus making his way through. Seriously has impressed here for the Silvers. Really has shown his mettle. Closest other car is Peyton with a 0.865. Then Linatus has gone a few tenths faster. A crucial few tenths faster. Up to line now, and just overcooked it on the chicane, so no time being brought home today. Dave Marsh coming through, final car alongside Tommy Hellstrom. Dave is going to get into row 3. Where will this place Hellstrom here? Let's see. It is going to be P15, and that is where we are going to leave it, folks. That is where we hold things, and annoyingly, the UI has decided not to cooperate. So we're going to go to a quick technical moment. It decided it does not want to work. If it hangs like this for a second, we will jump out and in, and we'll put it to a technical intermission. But what a qualifying that was. That is something else. We saw a lot of chopping and changing up and down. Pretty frenetic by the end of it all. And let's hope that we get back in a timely manner. Otherwise, we will have that brief visual reset of everything. So, I gotta say, I'm very impressed. Lindblom is our first car out there. Really has shown himself to be a formidable competitor. Guillemard is in second with Engdahl in third. Then in silver you have Linatus, who is first place, and by a decent margin with James Peyton in the AMG and Damien Reid in third place. Quite a unique and eclectic selection in the bronze, I gotta say. Or in the silver, sorry. Just getting on to the bronze now, though. And Hebert continues to impress. 18.505. Really has put down an amazing time. A whole half a second faster than Carl Thompson in P2 and Craig Morrison in P3. And that is where things do take a bit of a momentary turn. See, we'll get things going here. Here we are. And now it's time to see what our racers can do. We're on track in just a moment, folks, but while we do that, we ought to get ourselves ready and get ourselves looking at the grid walk. So let's see what these field of racers are going to show us. First things first, let's take a quick look here, and we will be having a first look at the front of the field. So it's going to be Lindblom and Guillemard in first and second, Jimmy Engdahl in third, followed by Oskari Hermé in fourth place to complete row 2, the 169 Ferrari. Dave Marsh is going to be in the number 27 Porsche with the iconic shark teeth, and then Johan Larsson is going to complete row 3 with a 0.8, well, the 8.4, the number 848 McLaren. There we go. Got there in the end. Number 12 Audi is going to be Linatus, leader of the Silvers, and certainly a trailblazer in this competition, with Justin Cutler lying alongside in row 4 with the number 35 Nissan. In the number 13 Nissan, it's the Iron Brew leader. It is Colin McNair himself with fellow racer Paul Hamby completing in row 5. And I still do a double take every time I see him in something that isn't a Lamborghini. Nicholas Björklund in the 444 Wolfpack Mustang with James Payton alongside in the 248 AMG. See everyone getting off their jack stands, getting ready to get for the session. Damien Reed in 13th place in the 979 Lexus. Adam Ostrachaz in the number 74 BMW is going to close out row 7 with row 8 going to Tommy Hellstrom in the 660 McLaren, and Chris Bourne, who's going to be in the 118 Ferrari. After a brief moment of wondering whether they'd set a time, they ended up really swinging forward. Patrick Larson is going to be in 17th in the 230 Ferrari, another Wolfpack entrant, along with Matthias Holmberg, the Swedish flag proudly adorning their roofline. Anthony Heber, leader of bronze, an impressive qualifier, number 28, with the 141 Ferrari of Randy Zimmer, completing row 10 for them. Enrique Camara is another Ferrari competitor for Wolfpack in the 104, with Carl Thompson in the 774 Nissan Nismo GT3. Craig Morrison not long following behind. 213 McLaren Shadow livery adorning their car, with Iro in the number 992 Porsche. Funnily enough, it's the code 992 911 GT3. Greg Niesbet's in your 331 McLaren. And then completing his position is going to be Alex North, leader of the Bronze Championship, but certainly got some work to do to defend that spot. Finally, Peter Smith in the 113 McLaren, alongside Rog Dismukes in the chrome pink and blue 420 Porsche, with Robert Homer in 29th position in the number 6, and Mark Hughes to finish in the 495 Ferrari. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our order set. And with that, an hour of racing commences. Key things to note: random weather. Things could still change, but so far looking bright and sunny. We have a mandatory pit stop here at SIMseniors, but the pit stop strategy can vary as drivers have the choice between having just a fuel stop or having a tyres replacement as well. See everyone lining up, lining their way through, getting themselves into prime time positions. Of course, this formation lap, so that means that they do have a chance to push a little bit, get the car up to operating temperature, get everything in working order, and then coming up to the final corners, they will line up double file. Don't forget as well, the points are on the line. We have 3 rounds left here, ladies and gentlemen. So the points are going to be even more important. More important than ever. As the racers are looking to potentially tie up their championships. Do a little bit of the maths, and you might find some drivers are mathematically locked out of certain champion positions, just owing to the fact that they do not have the necessary headway at this stage of the competition. But enough dilly-dallying, enough of that. As you can see, a little bit of a rearward kick from Liam Blom. We're going to jump on board the helicopter as things get underway. Once we pass through the bus stop chicane, everyone will be in double file and ready to kick off the official race start procedure. Here we are then anyway. Round 8 of 10. of the Tuesday Night Championships here at SimSeniors. 8 seasons in, things have been pretty exciting. Ups, downs, all the way across the field. And then it's time to see who is going to be the driver that comes out on top. Race control will give the green light in just a moment. Any moment now as we come through La Source and down into the straight. Yeah, rotate nice and tightly. See everyone just trying to line themselves up. Remember, it is 60 Ks. As everyone is going to be needing some space. The race control. Wave the green flag. Let's get going. The track is hot. And here we go. Round 8 is underway, and it's time to go racing in full. Big sweep through Eau Rouge and Radion now. You can see the gaggle of cars behind. 2 wide, 3 wide. Everyone jostling for position, wrestling for any space that they can have on this course. You can see everyone is just looking for any angle they can have on their competitors. Nobody is waiting an inch here. There's Dave Marsh on Cutler, for example. 2 wide all the way through. Lenatus getting involved. There's Johan trying to get a bit of a breakaway from the rest of the field. We do have a yellow coming out. There is a yellow. Damien Reed is round. Ostrachaz is following suit along with Hiro. They're all the way down at the bottom. Let's get a bit of a replay. See exactly what happened there in just a moment. Strikes already at this stage of the competition, as it looks like things have gone from bad to worse. There is Matthias Holmberg. Had to limp their car down into P26. Here we are then. Let's have a look and let's see exactly what happened. So this is checking in with Damien Reed here. So Damien Reed on replay. Let's see exactly what happened heading into Lecom. You see that's Aero heading off into the grass. You see it goes into the grass on the inside. I think makes contact. And then just parks on the apex. Has to wait for all the other racers to pass by before making a move themselves. See so many cars in close proximity. And curiously, at the top of the field, here is Frederick Gaimard. They were alongside Liam Blom and have shown themselves to be the one who has the wherewithal to take the lead. But at the bottom, we do have some chaos. The bus stop chicane. We see a couple of cars inside. That's Hamby. That is Butler. Or Cutler, sorry. Both resigning themselves down to the lower positions. Let's see again what happened. So Hamby, Cutler make contact, both parking each other out of the chicane, and that's all she wrote. To merge in on the narrow, luckily having a bit of space on the inside, but having to take a very slow approach. Oh, let's say look to the top. You can see the Lindblom and Gaimard are fighting Lecom chicane, and that Mustang was looking a bit squirrely. Yeah, Lindblom is, of course, a driver that we know is more than capable of fighting at the top end. The sharp end of the shed is all but his. Gaimard holding the line and holding firm in the face of challenge. The real impressive feat of all of this. But here we go, coming down into Puon. It is a 3 wide. There's going to be Cutler on the inside. Eero has to take to a bit of the escape tarmac. Dips in behind Cutler, but a 3 wide run into Puon. That is a very intense statement to make to your competitors. Nothing says I want this move like going into one of the most laterally loaded corners of the course alongside another car. Lindblom peeking his way into the inside, looking at the bus stop chicane, trying to sniff out opportunities for Gaimar to hand him even just a couple of tenths to get him closer in proximity. Also have a little bit of squabbling further down. Here is Tommy Hellstrom. Peter Smith is actually dropping down a couple of spots as well. Randy Zimmer went for an overtake just there. Looks like Smith is not taking it lying down though. Goes narrow into the source hairpin. But Zimmer just has the exit speed. Is able to get away. Cutler is looking mighty fast as well. Looking like an absolute weapon. Here we go as well. And oh no! That is going from bad to worse. That is James Payton getting involved in a bit of a squabble. Let's jump aboard with the helicopter and get a bird's eye view of exactly what happened. This is James Payton we're all jumping on board with. So, goes alongside. I think that's Björklund there. Hellstrom waiting in the wings. And unfortunately, I think they just outgripped themselves with nowhere really to go. Meanwhile, Paul Hamby has dropped big time. And we'll have to check back with them and see how they're doing. They go on the inside. Ooh. Mighty hiccup there. Looks like they're just running slow. Are they experiencing some kind of technical issue? Would have to be. Would have to be some kind of technical issue. No real other way to explain it. In my eyes. See, the squabble's continuing to happen towards the lower end of the field. And we have, in fact, Jimmy Engdahl taking the mantle from his proverbial teammate. It's the other Nismo now that is challenging for the lead of the race. Engdahl's a second behind Gaimar. Lindblom has fallen back. Looking like he's hungry for the move and is going for it on the apex on his teammate. Teammate naturally is not going to let him take it without a fight. As many others will be looking to do the same through the source hairpin. Patrick Larson trying to go for a move on Chris Bourne, but just not having the speed, not having the room. But a much better exit there from Bourne is going to be the opportunity that sows the seeds of P11 for the number 230 car. Meanwhile, Engdahl and Lindblom are going to trade spots. Ascari Herme could get involved in this too. They come out of the Lecombe chicane in a good spot. Going down into Brussels, you can see the Ferrari is poking its nose, trying to snip out for a chance. But Johan Larsson is keeping Ascari Herme honest right now. They're keeping him honest and keeping him quick. Herme is currently setting a bar for himself. Let's see if he can cash him. Zimmer and Iro are trading blows once again, this time through Brussels. We do have an incident report coming in. This is going to be from Damien Reed. Let's see exactly what was going on here. So, losing a bit of speed through Brussels into no name now. Looks like nothing major to report here. Just a tiny tap. Oh no, little bit of wobbliness, but no casualties. No casualties to speak of. So we'll say one driver that has impressed Niesbet is putting down a good fight and is pushing as much as they can within the situation. They have got a bit of bubble on course. Peyton is in their rear view, but 1.6 seconds stands between them and Robert Homer. So isn't leaving the most life of luxury right now. Holmberg and Zimmer had a quick trader position here, so Zimmer went on the apex of the chicane but didn't quite get the speed that they were hoping for. And now into the source, so that's going to be Holmberg confirming. Iro and Zimmer making contact as they come out of the hairpin. Briefly getting a contact flag placing on them. And even Hamby is now getting involved side by side through Eau Rouge. And Zimmer is going to be taking to the inside in order to stay ahead of Hamby there in the number 84. I don't think that Hamby is going to be taking that one lightly, given that they did leave the racing surface. Oh no, that's in the background. That is Nisbet. Just losing a bit of traction and putting themselves into the grass. Sad to see it. Richards is, along with Reed, running their own pocket of the race. Now this is where they could be smart. They could be strategic. What they could do is they could use this opportunity to run down the clocks, run down some time, and see to it that they get what they need. So when the others pit in, they don't have to worry. They can make up a ton of time all of a sudden and see their efforts be paid off in full. See, here is Bourne and Larson chasing for a racing. Good move through Blanchimont there. Very smooth through Blanchimont. Be nice and a clear line of attack that these drivers can keep an eye out for. Jump aboard the hood of Hebert, as that is going to be the Lexus on a different lap. Larson just up ahead. So he dips off into the escape tarmac. Damien Reed, of course, being the emissary of the early pit stop. Oh, something's happened to Kamara. Let's see what happened with them there. So they were chasing along with the others, heading down into Eau Rouge and Radion here. You see, going through and oh, just overcooked it. Smacking into the tyre wall. And unfortunately are going to be RTPing. Meaning they will be teleporting to the pit lane. With no option, or no viable option, seems for them, to go and run the rest of the lap in a damaged car state. Let's check in with the field as things currently stand. We have Guillemard continuing to hold on to first position. And we have Lindblom currently waiting in the wings. He's chasing as much as he can, and he's putting on as much pressure as one could possibly do. But try as he might, Guillemard is an ironclad defense. He's not going to be allowing Lindblom to challenge. Hasn't really even been able to get alongside at this point. One of the known fastest drivers in SimSeniors is having trouble getting by. Oh, then what is there to say? What is there to say? Morrison hunting fast, but here it comes through the bus stop. It is Cutler, Peyton, and Robert Homer too. They're all in a tight trio, although Peyton seems to have lost favour in speed. I'll keep an eye on Cutler for just a minute, as I want to see how he handles this next complex of corners. Will he be going for an attack coming out of Eau Rouge Radion into the Camel Straight? Will he hold back? See what he does. Tucks in. Use the slipstream. Gain a little bit of time. You can hear that gearbox absolutely screaming for it. Cutler put the nose in. Homer on the defense, just holding him together and holding him away. Oh, big squeeze on the inside there. The darts not putting in his favour. And now Peyton is breathing down his neck. We'll check in with him in a minute, though, as here comes Lindblom. Now, within half a second of it, Frederick. So Larson and Hermé could be running pretty close as well, with Morrison and North challenging one another. Let's have a quick look at Johanna Larson. Really a formidable force on the track. Showing themselves to be a consistent competitor, even if the points days aren't always on his days. Here comes Heber on the back of Patrick Larson into the bus stop chicane. Are they teeing something up? No, too far away. Although Larson has outbraked himself through the bus stop chicane. Great exit from Heber, but is it enough to hold the speed together? Looks like Larson is still pushing and fighting for his position on the course, but here comes the Ferrari. Not going to let him have it so easily. Goes a bit deep, makes contact with the 230 car, and out of La Source hairpin. They refuse to yield each other even an inch. This racing rivalry is going stronger than ever. Here comes a fight for the top, though, as we have got a bit of a challenge, and let's see exactly what happened there. So, this is Lindblom chasing on the back of JMR here. They're very good out of Eau Rouge. Now coming up into the Camel Straight. Have a good amount of speed. Sweeping to the outside. And oh no! JMR lost control. That's what gave them such a strong opening. The JMR practically peeled himself off to the side and allowed it to transpire. 20 minutes into a 60-minute race. It's already looking like a tough battle to fight. Homer and Hamby, though, still running close. And do still have a chance to really make some waves. Will Guillemot return to the fight? That is the question on my mind here, however. Frederick has got the pace. We've seen him hold that pace and actually span a little bit of a gap before Lindblom decided to lock in and kick it into high gear. He's got it. He has got it. Just needs to link it up into consistent lapping. However, with Lindblom now having open doors, I fear that it is too late. That it is already past the point of no return for him. You can look to many different battles across this track, but one thing we do know from previous experiments is once Lindblom gets an opening, that will be when he rides off into the sunset unperturbed, undisturbed. Hellstrom is trying to chase Björklund down. And so far, it's looking good. Not quite able to close that gap just yet. However, it is going to be enough to keep pressure on. Cutler, meanwhile, is taking no such liberties and has decided to fully commit and go for it. On the side of Alex North. Got some work to do to make up for the gaps. Being a driver with speed on the table, got to really work to make up that time. Leighton is also going to be challenging and going for the same as North is on the offensive, trying to recoup. Unfortunately, we have lost Iro, it seems, so whatever happened there, we're going to jump on board with a helicopter to find out. Coming out of the Kemmel straight into Lecom. A little bit of bumps, and oh, I think just a tiny bit of lift-off oversteer. You see already, coming out of that chicane, a bit of a wobble from them, and it seemed to just extrapolate into a worst-case scenario. Sad to see. Hopefully he does recover back on his feet, though. Yeah, this is going to be Marsh trying to challenge, but Larson is actually managing to peel away from them. Now, eyes are going to switch to Cutler as he's on the back of Craig Morrison. Really is seeking for a chance to get by. A formidable challenge on all fronts, as many drivers up and down the course are looking to gain their wings, really push boundaries of their own racecraft. The track is still mightily optimal. You have a little bit of crosswind, so just a couple of kilometers an hour, but that can make a substantial difference. That pitch sensitivity can make a heck of a difference. Cutler could have a challenge on Morrison, but Hamby has just got it done on Alex North. And so begins his ascent back up into the good books of this field. A good attack coming through into Puon, and now this is Cutler with the inside. James Payton is also going to slot himself in there. Morrison has to yield to 2. Still looking like a hotly contested fight. Some racers are going to start really baring their teeth now. We have had 20 to 25 minutes in, but the field now starting to stabilize. We do have the race now coming down to a few crucial battles. So you will start to see some drivers make repeat appearances. Some of them will make themselves at home on the commentary box camera as we press forward with whatever coverage we can get. Patrick Larson is now into the pit, so a little bit earlier cadence than most, but is still showing themselves to be a mighty quick car. Just wonder how long their pit stop is going to take. Here we are into the bus stop chicane, and Holmberg is in home stretch. Final corners for the 2-3-1. And then the next lap continues. A great up and down racing. A few different drivers are now starting to pit. genuinely don't know whether that is environmental in terms of managing your tyres. Or really what is going on. Remember, we do tend to see drivers favour the later stops as opposed to the earlier stops sometimes, almost lending themselves to a splash and dash run in the final 10. But Hamby is getting a challenge on Morrison and so far making it very successful. Almost makes it look easy coming out of No Name. 25 minutes on the clock. Where do we stand per class, ladies and gentlemen? That is the burning question, and here's where you have the answer. Coming up to start lap 11 now, it is going to be David Lindblom with Frederick Guillemard behind, and then Jimmy Engdahl in a third place position. Into your silvers, we have Lenatus, who themselves is just starting the 11th lap, followed by Mark Hughes a little bit further away down the order, and then James Payton, who is also looking to make some challenges for the others. However, towards the sharp end of the field, it is Anthony Hebert in the bronze class that continues to show their racing prowess. That's going to be followed by Craig Morrison. Where is Craig Morrison? He's not appeared. There he is, Craig Morrison. And then Alex North. As positions continually chop and change. Looks like a lot of drivers are going earlier than anticipated for their pit stops, particularly towards the front end of the field. Trying to get their pit stops in while they can before chaos erupts. I think so. We might even see a few overtakes coming in and out of the pit lane. A few key exchanges are going to determine the entire cycle of this race, as drivers are now making their way out and onto the field once more. Great fighting. I always love, I said this earlier, but I really do just love when we see cars placing themselves in the thick of other races in terms of classing. So we have Hebert right now, P9, and doing a really good job of holding pace to a lot of the gold runners. And even the silver runners haven't got the same best times as Hebert has seen right now. We can say the same for silvers, as we have Lenatus, who has been far and away the strongest silver competitor in the group thus far. And it could be set to turn a championship in their favour, should they so desire. This is going to be Cutler now into the pits, and a lot of drivers having already done so a lap prior or even towards the start of the race. We do have someone who's also going to take the time to repair some damage, like Nisbet, spending a little bit longer in that pit lane to repair the car and ensure that they do not run back onto that track without being fully race ready. A sweep and a beautiful shot, but a valid point being made in the live chat, which you should totally join in if you're watching this in post. Catch us live every Tuesday night at 8 PM UK time. But a great point being made that it does show the breadth of skill on display here. You can have some drivers who also will show their strengths in individual courses, individual track styles, power tracks, handling tracks. They'll be showing their power. And it gives some drivers a chance, like Heber in the bronze, really get a chance to show what they're capable of. The halfway point of the race, folks. Things are looking up. They are looking mighty impressive. Chance is here where drivers will be shown the way that they can make their races come alive. As I am very excited to see the top end of the field pit in. We have Guillemard, Engdahl, and Björklund in, which means that Lindblom is going to inherit a leading position here in the race. That will not last long, as he will maybe face a challenge from some of these undercutters. The only reason I say that it's not going to last long is because we've seen in the past a couple of seconds, crucial seconds, have been eschewed away in previous rounds. And I think with the proximity that he hasn't been able to pull out compared to previous rounds, he will maybe face a little bit of challenge when he comes out of the pits. A quick pit stop is essential here if he wants to retain that lead, but so far he's looking mighty fast. 9 seconds away from Ascari. But Engdahl, Guillemard, and co, that's their real targets. That's his real competition. And if they do well on the pit stop, better than he does, he might get displaced down to second and third again. Swift recourse for many of the drivers who pitted earlier and now have a chance to push forward. It's taken a moment to observe the action as many drivers are now headed into the pit lane. And you can see just how long that pit lane is and how much of a difference it makes. They've got to go all the way round to the GT pit lane. Past those concrete barriers. Before only barely emerging out the top of Eau Rouge and Radion. A lot of pit stops need to be made. Here comes Peyton, though. Peyton makes his way out. And makes a strong entrance back to the circuit. Here comes Lindblom on the back of him, though. A lap ahead and making swift work. Here we are. There is Carl Thompson going for an overtake on a non-pit. That is Rog, who has not pit yet, but Thompson is really putting the hammer down. Really is trying his best to just close and make up time now. Close the gap, make up time, charge forward, take the race by storm. This is the way of things. This is how the drivers want to make an impression, not just for their teams, but for themselves sometimes. I think we're seeing here, like Leonardus. He's proving as much to himself as he is to us here at home. And watching that he has what it takes. He has the wherewithal, the fight, the power to make this happen. 26 minutes currently stand on the clock. Leonardus shows the way. And the field is continually chopping and changing. as we have field runners returning like KMR and Hermé. So seriously impressed with a certain Audi driver. He's got a clean break. There's no real way to sugarcoat the amazing effort that he has done as he's heading into the pits now. He's got about 26 seconds, 26 to 30 seconds on the competition. Ridiculous speed and power. Explora's group proving to be formidable. Leonardo has no doubts, I think, in his mind. No doubts in his mind about the great performance that he's been putting on. They are making his way along with Colin McNair just up ahead. The two of them have shown great triumph. Now it is time for them to themselves head in, meaning that just Rog and Liam Blom are out on their initial tyre set. It's crazy the amount of consistency that these tyres are being able to hit, and these drivers are being able to extract. Throughout all of this, Liam Blom is still lapping in the mid to low 17s. When his best is a 17.1 at this point. A little bit of slip coming from him there. Tiny bit of slip and slide. Remember, folks, with this championship hanging in the balance, Leonartus could very well slingshot himself into the leading spots. And here he comes now. Hughes is still in the pit also. Leonartus is out and home free. Hughes has got a while to wait. Or has he? Here he goes off the jack stands. And there he goes, back rolling again. We might see Hughes being overtaken. There you go, that is Larson, Patrick Larson taking a spot from him in second. So, everyone is basically out. Only Liam Blom and Rog remain, but even then, Liam Blom is just decided now to head into the pits. Question mark in my mind is who is going to be the one who stands tall. Crazy enough, Carl Thompson has well, something's happened here. And Thompson is pushing hard. Seems to have slingshot himself throughout all the commotion into second place. Mighty impressed. Raj remains out after all this time. But question mark in my mind is where is Liam Blom going to come out? The fields of cars that are going to be chasing his spot. Let's jump on board with the helicopter. We'll see where the 888 car comes out. Looks like he's making his way out of Erosion Radion now. Oh, looks like it's just not going to be enough. Or is it? He could get this down the Camel Straight. Could get some time back. 3.3, 3.0 seconds. 2.5. I don't know. I don't think it's enough. You see, Liam Blom is right there. KMR has a chance to do this. Leverage these 2 laps like a race depends on it. Muchly because it does. That's your motivator. The race does in fact depend on it. We do continue to have squabbles in the mid-pack meanwhile. Randy Zimmer proving to be a persistent threat. Alex North, Morrison trailing behind. Fortunate there, Zimmer just taking a bit too much heat through the Eau Rouge Radion section, and he's going to be parking up on the inside wall. Is he going to RTP? He is going to RTP, meaning he's going to be automatically dropping down quite a lot. Hopefully we see him at his best and back on the track soon. Wouldn't be the same without him. Here we go, though. Cole Thompson is in the pits. Rog remains out a little bit longer. And Liam Blom leads, although not by a monumental margin. They are still hunting and chasing. Source of speed through the iconic complex of the course. Sweeping his way through. Thompson in the pit means that he's going to be demoted down to at least P10, if not longer. Already down into 13. MR, though, he's the driver that I want to watch, as could have a real opportunity on his hands. And I do mean a real one. A chance to potentially take the lead of the race and lead the championship a bit closer. Don't know if it's enough to put him on top, but it's enough to certainly scare the Nismo rival. Peyton, meanwhile, trying to make it a difficult day for Anthony Hebert. As the leader of the bronze class, isn't going to have bearing on his point standing. I mean, however you want to slice it, so many of these races look like a force to be reckoned with. I know for a fact if I jump behind that wheel, I would be 31st in a heartbeat. This has been a little while since I've been in the hot seat of these machines. I would be very, very rusted out. Taking a moment to observe here. So here we go, a little bit of back marker overtaking. Rog is now being swept by Liam Blom. Smith's also going to be in the firing line of a certain Mustang pilot in 208. So he goes very wide through Bruxelles, into No Name, running in through the track, but here we go. Here's Gamer peeking to the outside, and I think that is Rog with a yield there, respecting the blue flags and being a good sportsman. Oh, James Payton now. It's just, you can watch him almost as if his car itself is telling the story. He's unsure whether to go for the attack. He's considering jinking it to one side and going for a move, but something in him hesitates. Something in him doesn't think it's going to be working. And that is ultimately the toughest challenge. Is knowing that you want to get by, but that you can't really get by in the way you want. So Payton peeking to the left, then peeking to the right. He's going to send it now through this next complex. Rog is finally in the pits after a big question mark over if it would be this lap or next lap or lap after. Oscari, meanwhile, is chasing Jimmy Engdahl, and he's hunting for his podium. He really has been wanting that podium for a while. Now could be the moment where he gets it. Engdahl being quite the thorn. See, goes a little bit wide there, does extend out. In the slipstream here, Nismo does have a really good top end, it seems. Was posting higher speed traps than the others, but nicely done on the way through. Or side by side, no, contact. Contact made. That is going to be a brutal move against him there. So comes up, goes to the outside, sweeps their way through out, and it just keeps it nice and smooth, but unfortunately going into the side of Engdahl. Not really sure what's happened there. From one angle it looks like Engdahl hit him, but on the other angle it looks like Hermé went into the side of Engdahl, so can't really tell. I mean, let us know what you think of the live chat, of course, what you make of that incident. But moving it back, gaggle of cars in the middle currently. It's Hamby, Payton, Hebert. All a trio jostling. All in different classes. Now, this is perfectly emblematic of how varied the classes can be. These are all from separate places. It's a bronze, or silver, bronze, and gold, respectively. Payton, Hebert, Hamby. Got these three classes, and yet they fight each other hard and fair throughout the race distance. Not too dissimilar from a certain trio of Hellstrom, Björklund, and Bourne. Here comes Björklund on the inside into the bus stop chicane. Goes narrow, even risking it through the grass. Very daring, very brave. And Björklund is out through the bus stop chicane. Will Hellstrom have much in the way of a counter, or is this one that's going to be left to lie? I do believe everyone in this little trio battle are Wolfpack cars. Yeah, they are in fact all Wolfpack cars. So that team has quite a population. Let me tell you that. Sweeping through. And looking like a mighty, mighty team. Spawn continuing their challenge. Hellstrom and Björklund in sight. As a bit of a update towards the sharp end of the field, Liam Blom is still leading, but has peeled out a 5-second gap to Gemma. That lead has been hard fought, but that lead has ultimately been earned. We did have a split second where we thought we weren't going to see anything. And we in fact thought that we were going to see a bit of a droll race. But in the end, that starting sequence where Liam Blom dropped down to third, that was something. That was something quite interesting, I do say. He has broken out now. The GMR did give him a run for his money, and even Engdahl was passing him at one point before he slingshotted back through, got his mojo on. The final 10 minutes are here in the session, and things are looking like they are about to get interesting. Certainly for a certain McNair. Seek out those opportunities. Seek out those attacks. You will surely be rewarded. McNair and Marsh. Nismo and Porsche. Friend or foe. Will these two maybe work together to close some gaps further ahead, or are they going to resign themselves to pure fighting? And no holds barred for the other. Let's find out as we are on the back of the Porsche and chasing through P1. You can almost see that Colin is trying his best to gauge where the Porsche is going to go and try and react accordingly. It's not happening here, not yet, anyway. Colin is going to be a challenger to be reckoned with. If they get into close proximity, any closer than they currently are, I think we're going to see sparks fly, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Colin can be a driver who knows how to get the elbows out. He really does have a way of challenging and knows how to place his car to get an adverse reaction out of his opponent, which he can then capitalize on. Secret source coming up here. And now we will have just a pure gauge of racing talent. Now, I want you to watch closely. Look at where each other is placing their car. Now, Marsh is taking a fairly traditional line. He's not deviating, he's not having to go particularly defensive. However, he's still maximizing the space out of every corner. McNair, along with trying to maximize the corners, is also being wary of some of their drag, some of the slipstream that is going to prove to be a bit of a problem. In the corners, you do lose out quite a lot of downforce. So you've got to be careful where you place yourself, because the field is going to be, well, tough on you, to say the least, for it. Engdahl. Engdahl's got a quiet race here. He had initially a little bit of a challenge. He did get a bit of pressure from GMR and even his teammate Liam Blom. But in the end, what we are seeing is not a race for him. We are seeing a leisurely cruise around Spa-Francorchamps. Just because he's not got anyone really within proximity to challenge. He has a back marker between himself and GMR. 12.5 seconds. And Oscar is almost 4 seconds away. He doesn't have to worry about much of anything. While we have Peyton trying to close on Cutler. The two racers having fought together in times previous now have a chance to really put some pressure on him. Not to be outdone, Holmberg into the chicane as well. Sniffing around, literally sniffing right at the rear axle of that Porsche. You just don't want to let it go. You don't want to let it go. And a little bit of outbraking himself. Robert Homer has taken it a bit too deep into the corner. Look at this, so courteous. He indicates back onto the track. Such a courteous racing driver, although I think he may have left his indicator on, as he now had it flashing for a significant amount of time. There we go, that is now off again. A curious little detail. Times are a-changing. I think beyond the Gold Class Championship, which of course has seen its fair share of dominance, I think that we are going to be seeing drivers really start to push forward. And oh, Dave Marsh overcooking himself on the chicane there. But I think we are seeing some drivers who wouldn't necessarily get a chance to be at the top steps prove themselves, really have something to work with. The primary consideration is now, with the championship in mind, where do things stack up? So Liam Blom is no surprise with his current run of form. I'm not surprised that he has in fact gone on to hold the points, and will be holding even more points compared to GMR. With Engdahl completing that third. Wolfslener is not competing tonight, meaning Johan Larsson does have a chance to leapfrog him. They're on equal points, with Wolfslener only being in 4th on countback. So this is where he gets a chance to get some points on his board. But I am getting reports of a yellow flag and an incident taking place. But we will just check on that now. So this is the 113 car. This is Peter Smith on the replay. Coming down through Bruxelles and into No Name. He pushes out here. Goes narrow. Yielding to GMR here. Into Puon. Not sure why there was a flag call there. But either way, this is now a last opportunity to catch any drivers overtaking. So we do have a couple of drivers who've really punched a hole in the rest of the field. Lynn Artus, 4-1, has smashed it here. Class below, but undeterred. You can see even riding the coattails of Dave Marsh now, his pace is up there with some of the best Gold Class drivers. So I'd be very impressed if I was him. I'd be very proud. He certainly deserves to be. Artus is going to go challenge alongside and make that even more of a feat, although a bit of contact with Dave Marsh on the exit there. We have none other than Anthony Hebert being our crowning car, although you can see just behind, not to be allowed to rain on the parade too much. Mark Hughes is on the challenge and on the hunt, so will may disturb their track position. May disturb the track position, but he will not disturb the standings. Just in his favour, with Alex North taking a little bit of a points deficit, but not enough to write home about. There's one car, though, who has stood tall once again above it all. You know him. You probably lost to him. But making his way down through Sector 2, it is going to be, of course, David Lindblom. And this makes me mathematically wonder, does this mean that he will seal the championship? It's currently set at 205 points. 186 points is the next closest competitor. That's a difference of 19. So I wonder with this if he's going to be able to mathematically seal out the championship for anyone else. However, enough of that discussion. Coming through final corners into the bus stop chicane, it is none other than David Lindblom in the number 888 Nissan Nismo GT3. Congratulations, you have taken the finishing line, taken the checkered flag, and earned yourself another win here at SimSeniors Tuesdays. KMR is going to be through into second. Hard-fought battle, but 9.6 behind in Lindblom's case. No, great running all the same. And then Engdahl making his way across the line now and completing his run. 26 laps to join the rest of them. Oskari Home and Johan Larsson also joining just behind. Lenatus, what a silver campaign. Immaculate session. That Audi is proving to be a force to be reckoned with here. Giving us a few celebratory revs as he tries to get the car broken loose. But there you go, what a run. And a fitting winner for Silver. There you go, here is Patrick Larson as well, second place holder for the silver, and then James Payton in third. Quite a unique set, a unique spread there. Anthony Hebert coming up to the line, another impressive driver, this time for bronze. Continue to set the pace, set the tone for the competition. Craig Morrison is going to be closely behind, and in fact I think just overtakes Alex North in the dying moments of the session. You can see him just in the background there. North is going to sweep around into third place for the bronzes, and then we'll see the last few cars now making their way up to the line. Like, for example, Rog, who is fighting tooth and nail right to the very line with Eero. A 992 Porsche V420 Porsche. And then you have the 774 Nismo, just for good measure to throw in there. But that has been an absolutely brilliant race, folks. It has been immaculate and has been a great experience to watch start to finish. With that, however, we do say goodbye. Unfortunately, we didn't see Zimmer and Kimara finish the session. They did drop out much earlier, but that is where we are going to leave it. We're going to quickly mute that for now, because where are we going next? That is the question on many of people's minds, and the answer to that, yes, some of you may already know from looking at the calendar. Some of you may be finding it a bit of a curveball. Ladies and gentlemen, where we are headed to next is none other than a top speed mecha. Let's just see here, making sure that that is right. We'll get that confirmed. And lo and behold, unfortunately, the display is actually deciding not to work, folks. I have pressed the button and everything. Unfortunately, technical hiccups seeming to be prevalent here. A bit frustrating, to say the least. However, we will be soon heading off. And I believe we are headed to either the Red Bull Ring or Monza. But I'm going to leave that as a bit of a surprise. The drivers will know. But for you at home, keep it interesting. Thank you very much for watching, folks. And we will see you again soon. Very soon. It's been great to have you once again. And with that, we say good night.